Andrew, you have any interest in showing whatever it is I just referenced? I don't even know what that could be.
I will actually unmute
There's
myself.
a lot of traffic behind you, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
I'll be careful. I'm sitting in the center divide. All right. So just a quick little bit of background. So this is a project that I've been working on. I showed a little bit of it a couple weeks ago. It is a project called Beaumont and Fletcher that they need the ability to take TEI XML documents that are created based upon the information that was presented in this project. The Penn State University libraries went through and digitized this manuscript from, I think it's 1680 or 1690, and there are two different, an undergraduate class and a graduate class, that are converting the text from this digitized resource into a TEI XML document. And then there is going to be, there is already a class that is analyzing this information as images and put into PDFs. And they said, well, maybe there's some way that we can make that into like HTML documents or something, you know, put it on a website. And so that's where the project came from. So we have gone through and created this TEI render element that what it does is takes the TEI XML and converts it into HTML. And then what I've been working on in the last week, 2 weeks, has been trying to get it moved from just presenting the HTML to it actually doing something with it that's a little bit more interesting. So Nikki was really helpful in helping me to get a bunch of different copy links. So this is the element as it stands right now. So you can see as I mouse over each one of the different lines, she helped me to get those link tags in there, so that when you click on it, it pops up this little toast, and then you have the ability to paste in that particular URL, which the professor was super excited about, because that means that now she can actually grab those URLs and put those into her core syllabus and so on and so forth, so that people can hop right into the particular thing that they're supposed to be discussing. So one of the other things that I added in this week, in addition to making it so that instead of it appearing on every line, then it just appears when you mouse over, I also added in this ability for you to see the actual line numbers, which one of the fun things about that is that I changed it so that there's a line display property, so that I can change it to 10 lines, for example. And instead of then showing on every single line, then it shows every 10th line the text for the line number. So that's kind of fun. And let's see what else. Brian also helped me to reorder the toast a little bit, so that it was only being used once instead of it being on every single element, which was neat. And let's see. Oh, and then then this is actually, so the element itself, but then we have some of these other different style elements. So this is a turn under, so it's an attribute on the XML. As you look at the XML, then you have some of these render turn over, and there's a turn under and an indent and a couple of other different funny little attributes that are on there. And so this is a turn over, where it's actually taking that and changing the styling based upon those different attributes in the XML. But then finally, this is actually it being presented inside of HAX CMS. So I have the different acts that are available in introduction, and the nice pagination that you have going back and forth There's an element in there as well for being able to pop out to the actual page, so you can see the actual page that you're looking at right here. This is the rendered version, and this is the actual original manuscript. So kind of bridges both those different worlds. So that's what I've got. A couple different elements on the progress on that element marching forward. So
That is so cool, Andrew. That looks really good.
thanks, Mike.
Agreed. This looks really cool.
Yeah, now we just need to get this in front of our folks in arts and architecture, because I'm sure they have plays that they've never even thought of, doing this. We have courses that have this type of information, and we've, never. Anytime I see it, it's just, hey, throw a PDF up, which is fine if you had no other option. But especially if you get some of the search index aspects of this working, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, this is neat. Yeah, the links that we're using, it's just basically leveraging the anchor behaviors element that I made that's looking for different IDs within Shadow DOM.
Yeah, are you able to pull up that part of the code, Andrew? Because I've been curious how one integrates that for other purposes, but Nikki has 10 million other elements that I always have to learn how to integrate. So
I believe anchor behaviors is just a single line. Like you import it and then it does its thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is where we have the different lines. And based upon it having those lines, then it's going to go through and attach the paper icon button to each one of the different things and identify the event listener for the click.
but what makes it actually render there? So this part renders it there? Oh, you're saying you put in the relative headings. Is that what you're saying,
Yeah.
Nikki? Oh, my bad. I was thinking the absolute, I thought you used the absolute positioning behavior. Okay, never mind.
No, it's the anchor behaviors. Yeah, after a while, all the little behaviors I made just sort of run together in my head.
I know, you can tell it's the end of a long week.
Yeah, so.
Could you show the toast thing real quick?
The actual activity of it, or the code behind it?
The code.
Okay, so we're using the simple toast, which is inside of the LRN web components. That I believe, Brian, you were saying Nikki did that, right?
Brian, I thought you made simple toast.
Yeah, I can't remember if I made that or she did.
Okay.
I can look that up offline.
Either that or somebody's actually contributing anonymously and we just don't know it.
It's one of us somewhere.
So it's based upon the idea that the paper toast, but it has a couple of different things simplified. And my understanding is that it kind of generalizes things so that you can have a single simple toast that's there and then reference that and call it. So let's see.
Like, where does the simple toast element get added to on the page?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking here for.
It's in the constructor.
Yeah, here we go. So inside of the, as Brian
I mean, in
said,
terms of the DOM structure.
It registers itself to or whatever in the constructor, whenever it gets set up, it appends itself to the bottom of the window, right, Ryan?
Yeah. So the request availability, everyone that wants to access the toast calls request availability. which is how Andrew's demo of this by itself works exactly the same as if it's in HAX CMS. So anything that we make that wants to use a toast does a request availability call in its constructor or some point in the operation, which either returns the singleton, a reference to the singleton, or it appends it to the DOM at that point at the highest level of the document. Because the issue that that Andrew was running into was made a paper toast, and when it was by itself, that worked fine. But then when it was the element put inside of HAX CMS, it would render somewhere down, deeper in a shadow root. And so it wasn't able to get Z index high enough, which is a super common issue with these types of modals and dialogues and things. So then the way that you access the singleton is via events.
When that toast comes up, does it also give an assertive ARIA thing? I forget what the term for it is. But in accessibility, when there's something that changes and it like interrupts the screen reader?
At the moment, it uses paper toast, so I'm pretty sure that that's baked into paper toast.
Cool.
But the other nice thing of part of why we structured it towards the singleton is if we do have an alley issue like that, or there can be an enhancement, we got a single point to go back and fix.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm still new to some of the terms that we were using, and I didn't know how to describe exactly.
Oh, it's really cool. This is awesome.
It's also the fun of using someone else's elements. You don't need to understand as much of the magic if it, if it just worked.
Yeah, I'm starting to understand the working part, but how it actually works is definitely, there's a lot. So, all right. I think that's all I have.
Cool.